back to Unladylike Opinions, where this is the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 7, Slippery Slope. Okay, so the episode starts off with Whitney calling all the girls, inviting them to go tubing, and everybody is down to do it, but she calls Mary, but Mary doesn't answer. Mary goes straight to voicemail, and they said her voicemail ain't even been set up, child. So, you see Lisa picking up her son, and he asks, can they go get something to eat and then go get some ice cream or something after. And she says that her and her son share the same, love for fast food. She asks him how school was going, and he tells her that his friend stopped talking to him, and he didn't want to be his friend anymore. He said he was cutting him off every time he started talking, telling him he thinks he's a good guy, but he's not. He's really not a good guy. And Lisa said, well, we'll arrange a hangout so that, y'all can make peace. And, he was like, okay, cool. And so then she, in her confessional, she was like, she's going through the same thing with Whitney. And I'm like, not you comparing yourself with kid drama. Girl, go ahead. So she said she liked to resolve issues. She doesn't like to have problems. And I'm like, Lisa, whatever. So Jeannie and her husband sit down for dinner, and she said that, they haven't talked much since the fight, and she's still annoyed with him, but they have this ritual where they go oyster night, and he invited her. So, she was like, hell yeah, I was going to go. Even if I am mad at him, I'm not going to pass on oysters and martinis. She asked him why he want more kids to add to the list of all the other things that she has going on, because she's very busy with the other kids. And that man said he need more alcohol to have this conversation, and we're gonna go there right now. He apologized for upsetting her, and but her walking off, hurt him. She said, how would you feel if I wanted something and you wasn't able to give it to me, and I tell you I'm gonna marry another guy? How would you take that? And then her eyes start, tearing up, and she said, what other solution is there? And she said a sister wife isn't the solution, and it's illegal to have multiple marriages. And he hit her with the fact that in 2019, the state of Utah removed the law against that. And he is correct. Polygamy in Utah is pretty common and sickening at the same time, because they be marrying uncles and cousins and all that. But yeah, I do my research. So he said it's common in their culture to have polygamy families, and he thinks he can make it work. And Jeannie says she ain't sharing her man with nobody, and that's that on that. She trying to understand what he expects out of a sister wife, and he said he know a gentleman with 5 wives and 40 kids. Okay. And the ultimate goal is to have a big family. She said the polygamists there in Utah are from the FLDS religion, and they are open-minded to having multiple marriages, but she is Catholic, and that is not what they do. And mind you, since she brought that up, the FLDS is ran by a leader named Warren Jeff, who is currently in jail serving time in prison on rape and 2 felony counts of child assault. And he was sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. And his youngest wife that he married is 12 years old. I just had to let that out because I knew that. And they don't like black people, so it makes sense when Mary called some of them saying they don't like black people. I believe it. And so Jeannie's husband said that the 10 Commandments do not say that thou shalt not have another wife or multiple wives. And Jeannie looks at him and she says she wants to be open-minded, but it hurts that he wants her to share him with somebody. And she started crying, and he said she is his best friend, and he doesn't want to lose her or their relationship. And he doesn't want to hurt her this way, but he has to put himself. And she was like, but you have to put yourself in my shoes. And she asked, what is he willing to sacrifice? And he said, of course, I'm not willing to sacrifice our relationship, but I have an empty feeling in my heart that more children will feel. And she said when when March comes around, he brings this up and he needs to heal from losing their daughter. And he needs to heal from losing their daughter, and he needs to seek, professional help. And okay, look like my camera was blurry. And he said he doesn't need it because he knows what he wants. And she begs him to give help and make the effort. And he said he would think about it. And seeking help in their culture is like him admitting that, he's a failure. So then you got Seth and Mary to meet up, and he tells her he loves her outfit because it's chic and she hottest-ish. And they have a little conversation about buying a house and what all they expect the house to be or have. And then Seth asked Mary what were her expectations for him. And she said communication techniques, saved their marriage. And she said she doesn't feel like she has his full support with the kids. And he said, you engage in a BS and I don't. Just let them deal with their BS. And I was like, I could have sworn that Meredith's kids was all grown, but maybe she got some more kids I don't know about. I don't know. So he said he's going to help her navigate through this or whatever. So then he agrees to jump on a stress grenade with her. He agrees to jump on a stress grenade for her while she is naked. Cringe-worthy. So Heather is throwing this Jordan 1 party for a 1-year anniversary of her beauty lab, and it's also the 1-year birthday of all her employees' all of her employees that had sons. All 5 of them had, babies on the same day. The business was open. So all the babies get, Jordans for gifts wrapped up in this cute little Jordan 1 paper, and they all get cakes, and one of them throw the cake on the floor, and then they start crying. And Whitney and Angie taking fireball shots. Yuck, I hate fireball. Heather asked Whitney about the dinner with Lisa, and she said they went to Aubrey and Marco's restaurant, and the first thing that comes out of Aubrey's mouth was, isn't it weird how Angie is lying on you? She said she shut it all the way down and asked what is Lisa coaching you? And Angie said, oh, so she said I was lying. And Angie said she's a lot of things, but a liar isn't one of them. Heather asked what did John and Justin do? And she said they sat there and patted our backs. And then here go Jen in her confessional saying, setting people up is not Lisa's style. So I don't know what Whitney is talking about. I'm like, of course you don't, because y'all one of the same. So Heather asked Whitney if her and Lisa are friends, and she said they agreed to move on. And Andrew was like, but will she move on with me? And Whitney said, right now she doesn't want anything to do with you, and she still blames you for all this. But she is coming tubing. And Jen said, then you should talk to her. And Andrew was like, I've reached out to her. I told her I loved her and I wanted to get to talk to her. And she says, I've known her since I was, a child. Heather said Angie doesn't realize that the ship has sailed and she is never going to get back on the SS Lisa ever again. So Whitney makes them stand up and, fluff out the energy. That's what she said. Fluff out their aura. And Angie is drunk trying to fluff out her aura, and she fluff out on the floor while she's snorting. They all arrive, to the little, to go tubing. They're waiting on their ride, and Whitney pulls out champagne to make mimosas, and Andrew was like, I'll pass. Andrew said, no, not y'all won't get me again. Then a big scratch Hummer comes around the corner, and it pulls up, and it's Mary inside. And Mary said this was a 2-hour ride, so it was mandatory for her to give transportation for all of them. So Lisa gets in the bus and said Angie is invisible to her, and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So Heather was like, something about champagne, and then I can't remember, was it Jen said sparkling water? And Heather said, no, sparkling water will freeze your ovaries, saying, because it was something Mary said last year. And Mary was like, no, harden, babe, harden over time. And Mary was like, and Lisa hollered out, I need to Google that, Mary, is that true? And Mary was like, everything I say you got to Google, don't do that. And Mary said, don't talk to me like I'm dumb. I speak facts. And in her confession, she said, in true Lisa fashion, she says Mary is not an MD. I'm gonna Google it. And then Lisa says to Mary, okay, done. We got it, truce. And Mary says, why you got an attitude? And I'm so confused of where this energy come from. But you know, Hella is enjoying it and was like, finally, you know, I'm enjoying somebody getting at Lisa. Mary said it triggered her by her saying that because most of the time Lisa be lying and they need to be Googling what she's saying. True. And Lisa, when they get off the bus, Mary said, Mary said, I don't tolerate you. And then they get off the bus. And Lisa asked Mary, what was that all about? Mary said, don't talk to me like I'm beneath you because I'm not. Then Mary said, you keep saying you got to Google what I say. Is it because I'm black? And I'm like, what the hell? And Lisa said, you are being ridiculous. And if you come at me again like this, we gonna have another conversation because this is not cool. Mary tells Lisa she is too sensitive and she needs to toughen up. And Jeannie just hop out and say, now can we have some fun and everyone shut the F up and let's go. And Mary said, no, sweetheart, you know, get your language right. Don't talk to me like that. And Jeannie said, this is how I talk. And if you don't like how I talk, then don't listen. And Jeannie was doing team too much. So she said, it's not a good day for me, so don't talk to me. And Mary said, rude. And Jeannie said, what did you say? And she tell Mary to keep her mouth shut. And Lisa tells Jeannie, you know, don't say that. And Jeannie was like, you ain't my mama. You don't tell me what to say and what not to say. I say what I want. So obviously she is taking her frustrations out on anybody that'll say anything to her. And Mary was the target. So Mary said she got a handful going on over there. She does. And so they finally get their tubes and go tubing. And Mary got on some damn heels. And she mad because she got to pull the tube, saying the tube about the same weight as her. Mary went down and said, yeah, I'm done. And Heather offers to pull her. But Mary said, nope, I'm out. And so Whitney and Angie go change it to some type of outfits. Heather asks Mary what happened with her and Lisa. And Mary said she is good. She squashed it. And Mary talking about, you know, you got to do all this to have good bowel movements or you'll be constipated. And I'm like, Mary is cringe. Oh my God. And Lisa and Whitney try to scare people and fail. And they get ready to race down the hill. Jen, Whitney, and Heather are having fun dancing when Lisa notices it and she was like, Jen, come over here. And Meredith says, you know, we need a fourth. And they only have 3. And in her confessional, yet again, Lisa talking about Jen doesn't have her back today out of all the time she even had Jen back. So then Whitney and Jen kind of wins. I guess the Jen side won or whatever. And they sit down for dinner and Whitney tells them that the losers have to wear wigs. And they put on these awful wigs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they sit down and have dinner. And Mary just sitting there just staring. And Lisa asks if you gonna eat, Mary? And then Mary was like, I will. Then Jen asked, you know, if they talked it out. And Lisa said she was taken aback by Mary. But Mary was like, oh, we good. And Lisa said she don't like people thinking the worst of her. And this when Angie jumped in and said she tried to reach out to Lisa and she know their relationship would never be like it was, but you know, she does want to let it go. And Lisa said, if you're not saying sorry, then there's nothing more we need to say or talk about. She thinks Angie feels hurt from misinterpretation on her own and by nothing that she did. She said she's not gonna be beat up by something she didn't do from a friend over 20 years. In a story, I am done. Whitney said she didn't do anything to you. She just asking you about it. And Lisa said her feelings were devastating and Whitney should stay out of it because they have a clean slate. And Lisa said all she want to do is be her. And she can't even say the word Google without someone jumping on her. Get off her back. Lisa said, y'all better get up off her. So, Lisa says in her confession she don't know what's more hurtful, Angie going on with this lie, or that Jen and Meredith didn't stand up for her. And then her and Heather get into it, and she started crying, fake crying if you ask me. And Lisa know how to get people. Whitney said Lisa know how to get people to stop talking, which that's what she do. She cry her way out, and of course, Angie falls for it and goes over there and apologizes and hugs her. Fool. And so Jeannie asked Mary, "Are they good?" And Mary said, "Sure." And here go Heather mess to tell, "What made y'all have a scuffle?" And Jeannie says, she says what she thinks, and she don't like people telling her what to say, what to do, because she grew up Asian, and that's how they did her. And who are you to tell me what I can say? And Mary said, "Yeah, good for you." And Mary said Jeannie was talking about talking all that, but looking everywhere but at her. So if you're going to talk to me, look at me. She's saying this in her confessional. She ain't said it to Jeannie. And then Jeannie was like, "You don't know me, so don't attack me, period." And Mary said, "I hear you loud and clear." Mary was being sarcastic, but I wish Mary would have piped up. But Jeannie said today is the day of her dead daughter's anniversary, and she is triggered. And I'm like, well, I think you should have stayed at home, because ma'am, this girl. So she tells him that it wasn't a miscarriage, it was a full-blown baby, and don't attack her because she will snap back. And Mary looking like, "Girl, go ahead now." But the rest of them start crying and telling her they are sorry. And Jen in her confessional talking about she had multiple miscarriages. She understands because her and Coach wanted the whole basketball team. Then Lisa says in her confessional that she don't understand why Jeannie is telling this group of people her business, because they are selfish bitches. And I'm like, you would know, because you the number one queen of being selfish. So Jeannie said that, she got that out. That's enough of crying. Now let's go have some fun. And that was the end of the episode. And it looked like next episode, Mary gonna be the target. And somebody from that knows Mary is supposed to come to a thing that Meredith is having where Jen isn't invited. And it's weird. But we're gonna see what that's gonna come about. I wish we would get to Jen in the feds. Good Lord. But anyway, that was my episode, my recap review of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.